We are catching up again with Jabez. I am so excited, man. So last time we were all together, we presented Jabez with some opportunities, right? Some properties that we all found. We all went out. The only person that didn't bring one was Sean, but you know why? Sean didn't bring it because we knew that we would be at a competitive advantage if he didn't bring nothing.
That's right.
Today, we're catching up with Jabez to find out, hey, how is the deal that he actually picked going? We're going to help him crunch some numbers today to figure out rehab opportunities. What are you hoping to get out of this episode?
Clarity as far as where we're going to be spending money on the rehab and how the numbers is going to look going into the refinancing deal, that spreadsheet that you have, and that just makes sense. To this way, I know and I could have peace of mind in my mind how the money working, so I know sound, wise investment and all the pieces of the puzzle that are involved in this process.
Yo, welcome back. What's up, people? It is another episode of the Property Brothers. What's good, y'all? I am your host, Jordan, along with my cousin, my partner, the numbers ninja, Drew. Man, we are back with the full round table today. We got the whole crew in the building, man. We got CEO Keys buying the block back. We got Gabriel Property Management, Sean Elliott, and we got Jabez Elizriel, Mr. Mango Tree himself. Drew, what's good, baby? What we talking about today, man?
Yo, so we are catching up again with Jabez. I am so excited, man. So last time we were all together, we presented Jabez with some opportunities, right? Some properties that we all found. We all went out. The only person that didn't bring one was Sean, but you know why? Sean didn't bring it because we knew that we would be at a competitive advantage if he didn't bring nothing.
That's right.
That dude would have brought something that would have slayed us all. So we were like, hey, Sean, just stay on the sideline, But anyway, today we're catching up with Jabez to find out, hey, how is the deal that he actually picked going? And we're going to help him crunch some numbers today to figure out rehab opportunities, what this thing is going to look like. And they're still in the process of, and maybe Jabez, why don't you talk to us a little bit about where you're at, man? I don't want to steal your thunder.
Man, first of all, I just want to say I appreciate y'all for real for this whole situation. And so, the property that I settled on to be my first ever investment property is going to be over there on Indianapolis. So
who brought that to you, by the way?
You did.
The property brought me a winner, man. So it's a looker. It needs to get fixed up. CEO, he did the walkthrough. He showed me what it was looking like on both sides because it's a duplex, a 3-1 on each side. And the original offer that we put in was at $125,000. And it was looking like it was going to be, a minimum, probably around $100,000, $120,000 to fix it up. The ARV, the after repair value, was in the 300s.
Okay.
So the numbers was looking good.
Yeah.
So I went through for the first time, went through the process of getting the hard money loan to pay for the property.
Yeah.
And because I've never,
how's that been going, brother?
So it was interesting because the first two offers that came, the first two people that Keys referred me to, they didn't come back with an offer right away. Then Drew, you referred me to Ron, who came with two offers.
With Diversified Capital. Ron with Diversified Capital.
He came back with two offers, one at 55%. What it's called, LTV?
Yes, loan to value.
Yep. One was 50, which could you explain what that means? Because you'll explain it better than me, but I think it's important because I didn't know what that was. When the numbers came back, I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah. Jordan, why don't you take that one, brother?
Sure. So LTV stands for loan to value ratio. And this is the number, basically the amount that the lender, the bank, the hard money lender, anybody is going to loan to you based on the after repair value. So the after repair value that Keys came in with, say it again, Jabez, what was it?
It was 300. The 300 and what it was, Keys? 30, I think.
25 conservative on my side, what I believe.
This lender is going to give you 55% of that $325,000 after repair value, after it's all said and done, after you rehab it, after Keys gets in there, works his magic, and we ready to get up out of there. That's what they're going to lend to you on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Why don't we start digging into, but first of all, why don't we go through and Sean, reintroduce yourself, brother.
All right. It's Sean from BRRRR Property Management. All right, from engineer to real estate investor to your property manager.
Sir.
And I'm here, man. I'm here. You know, the funny thing about it, man, we just you remember the last episode we was talking about about the garage making that income property? Just had that situation. Just had that situation. Yes.
Okay.
I had a client that wanted to turn that into an income property, talking about, oh, well, you know, can I get $100 out of it? Like, no, I mean, get at least $350 out this thing. Come on,
nice.
You know, so ran right into it. So Jabez, man, I hope that we can do the same thing for you and find some money inside. There's some extra money.
Sir,
we can talk about that later. But yeah.
Heck yeah.
Love it. How about you, COE? Look at my dyslexia coming through.
Margarita.
Hey, you already know what the vibes is.
Cheers. Hey, it's Sunday afternoon. It's a beautiful Sunday in Southern California, and I'm kicking it with my boys. Let's celebrate.
Yeah,
CEO Keys, bring it. Introduce yourself,
it's your boy,
man.
CEO Keys, checking in from Indianapolis, Indiana, a.k.a. Mr. Buyback the Block himself, a.k.a. Himothy. I was just called the other day by your man because I am him. You heard? No. Drop the bomb. So, man, hey, I just love to teach my people about real estate from the back to the front end. I'm also a licensed general contractor and a licensed realtor with FC Tucker. So that one-stop shop, whenever you come to the Midwest, let me know. Give us a holler, man.
Yes, sir. Cool, man. Well, this is awesome. So we're definitely going to get into Jabez's deal, man. And I think we're going to break it down and, you know, just kind of what it's like. You know, Jabez, how are you feeling right now, bro? I mean, you just said property for the first time ever. You are about to be a property owner, bro. And so how are you feeling right now? Let the people know what are the emotions that you got going on right now?
Feel excited. I feel like every step of this process, I want to document it and make it clear as possible to understand. I feel like I'm walking on the path that I'm supposed to be walking on, and I'm happy to be with y'all, man. It just feels good. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to paint this picture real quick before we dive into the numbers for anybody that's looking into that might be in a position that I'm in right now that's never done it. Because like as I've been going through just this part of this process, it's a lot of new things going on, and I'm learning literally as I go, and I have mentors that are guiding me through. Y'all brothers is guiding me through this. So I want to make it clear just the overall plan of this, how I'm looking at it is to acquire this property. We CEO Keys got to talk them down from 125 down to 115. We ended up getting the loan.
Talk them down on what? On the rehab or the purchase?
The overall price of the property.
Okay, there we go.
It was $125,000. He talked him down to $115,000.
Okay. Now, wasn't it 129? It was listed at 129, right?
I believe so.
And so you guys have been able to drop it down now to 115.
115.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
And then he came and got a lender, shout out Ian, who came back with the offer at 90% LTV.
That's beautiful.
They're going to cover 90%. So they're going to be able to cover the cost of the house and the rehab price. And so that happened. So now the goal is to take this down, fix it up. And this is what Caleb is going to do. We can get into that and then get renters in there. And then what I'm really most excited about, and then we're going to refinance it. So when we refinance it, the money from the refinance is going to come. I can pay off the hard money loan, put some money in my pocket. And now I didn't have to come out of pocket for anything. And now the renters will be paying off the loan from the refinancing deal.
So I want to come in real quick. So you talked about a 90% LTV, and I know Jordan spoke about the LTV. So really, when you're doing a fix and flip loan, the 90% is really talking about the purchase price. So basically what they're saying is that $115,000, they're going to cover 90% of the purchase price. And then what the other thing that Ian's bringing to the table for you is 100% of the rehab. Right.
Yes.
So that's absolutely fantastic. So about how much money do you think you're going to have to bring to the table to get into this door?
I think it's around 20,000. I'm gonna
Okay.
be bringing around 20,000 out of pocket, and I want to make this note too for anybody that hasn't done this yet. Why I'm in a position to be able to do this is because I've been saving minimum 10% of my money. I've been paying myself. When I make money, I put 10% of it aside. And I just started doing this a few years ago.
Yeah.
So
That's
since I
awesome,
started doing that, I got almost, I got a nice amount of money saved up. So I can reach into that money now and start making investments.
Yeah.
So if you're
So,
not,
so I think
I highly
you're
encourage you to start.
I think you're actually going to be probably around $16,000 as I look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Jabez, you're a man after my own heart, bro. I mean, you are absolutely living what the Property Brothers preach, man. And it's, get that active income, pay yourself first so that you can make an investment and make a wise investment at that, man. And you are adopting the BRRRR strategy, bro. And this is real time, ladies and gentlemen, that this BRRRR strategy is kicking off, man.
Absolutely.
A couple episodes, right? We brought the deal to him. Okay. Right here on this channel, man.
Right.
And now Jabez is making it happen.
Can I ask Jabez a quick question? What are you hoping to get out of this episode, Jabez?
I want to, the main thing that I'm most curious about is clarity as far as where we're going to be spending money on the rehab and how the numbers is going to look going into the refinancing deal, that spreadsheet that you have to make the numbers make sense. To this way, I know, and I could have peace of mind in my mind how the money working, so I know that it's a sound, wise investment, and all the pieces of the puzzle that are involved in this process. It's going to bring clarity to that. So I just want to make sure that it's a smart investment.
Yeah. Are you nervous about that in any way?
I thought I would be more so than I am, but you guys make me feel comfortable. And on top of that, more so than anything, like I realize for me to get started, I got to get in. Like I got to there's risk involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. There's always a level of risk.
Yeah. So I've taken risks leading up to this point in my life. So it's like, now I'm more excited than anything else to learn.
Yeah. And the idea is, how do we mitigate that risk? Right. So we actually had we did a podcast last night with our boy, Sean Egan, who actually, I think he probably reached out to you right after the podcast and said, hey, we need to get into the door and let's go through and take a look at that property, make sure that we get the property inspection.
IndySpect, right?
Yeah.
He's
from IndySpect. And so right now we're going to be going through the numbers. And we're going to be sharing the numbers that we have. And we're going to be basically looking at, okay, based off of what the contractor has seen, right? On the surface, what are the cost amounts that we're expecting to pay for this rehab? So you want me to share my screen, or were you going to share something else, Jordan?
Yeah. So we're going to do a screen share of the actual property. We're just going to bring up Zillow real quick, just to remind our viewers over on YouTube what the property looked like. Okay. Because Jabez is following the Property Brothers method of beautifying lookers. And as we go through this, we can tell this bad boy is a looker from the moment you open the door. That is beautifully ugly, right?
And that thing looks
so
horrible.
I just want to quickly go through this, right?
That bad. It ain't that bad.
Hey, it ain't that bad because we've seen some real bad lookers. It looks like the bones are good. And you know what? I'm going to let CEO Keys, as I'm going through the pictures, just kind of talk about what he's seeing, what he's noticing, and then Drew will bring up the numbers as the number ninja loves to do.
Yeah, so this is the one area code located in Indianapolis. So this is a looker, is what they were describing, the Property Brothers. So
yes, sir.
Just a little bit about this property. As you guys can see going down the pictures, it has some older type of woodwork that is done inside of there. So we will try to definitely preserve as much as we can, because that does increase the value. This type of woodwork is called crown molding. So you'll see that around the doors, around the windows. But as you can see, they have kind of tried to start doing some rehab and remodeling. With that being said, it does have very strong bones. So with the wood that they used to use about 100 years ago, there's about 100-year-old house. So the wood and the quality of wood that they used to use back then rather than now is a lot better. I will say firsthand. And also, one big thing about this property is that it does have a lot of character, right? So it's right down the street from the Garage Food Hall, which is a notable high tourist area inside of Indianapolis. And also, they are building, they're taking out the old women's jail that is around the corner, and then they're building like a shopping center, super mall, museum type of thing, mixed use type of thing for that. So as we look through this property, right, we see, hey, the first major things that we always want to check when it comes to the contracting business is the foundation, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and as well as the roof. So, but on this property, we will firsthandly say, okay, what does that look like? Well, walking around the property, we did see some of the foundation. Now, are we going to call them issues? I wouldn't necessarily call them issues. I would call them that the foundation needs to be tuck point, because when you walk inside of the house, you don't feel no unevenness. So that is one of the perks that you can say that is very good when dealing with the older style houses. Also, this property, you start off with a newer roof and newer windows. So you're already at an up on the higher price items that you would normally spend money on, that you don't no longer have to spend money on. So
you're saying that they already have windows that they replaced and the roof's been replaced as well?
yeah, it looks like the roof is
Beautiful.
pretty much newer,
Love
and
that.
then most of the windows have been replaced. Now we will have to come in there and make sure that they're done and replaced right, because I didn't see any window flashing or spray foam or anything like that. But at least you do have the actual physical window, and you don't have to spend the money on it. So it does have.
This door looks fairly new too,
Yeah,
right, Caleb?
I was literally about to say that they also have 2 new doors as well, that they have. So that is a plus that is going on. That'll be really good for them as well. So with that being said, man, with that old woodwork, people are going to value that. Now it's up to Jabez,
bro.
but a lot of those things, they have some older characteristics, like the hardwood flooring. They have original hardwood floor. So for me, I would say go ahead and finish the hardwood floor, sand it down and finish it versus anything else. So at these point in times, we'll be all good and we'll go from there. So I mean, you have endless opportunities with this. Now, if it was, in my opinion, I'm also a real estate investor, I would say that you should do a higher end rental, because those are the people that you are going to have renting this property given the area that it is in. So it's really kind of up to you and what your strategy is. I know in a lot of my rentals, I'm buying for appreciation. I'm buying to know what's going on in the future. So if that's the case with you, I know Drew and Jordan was saying, hey, they don't like to come back and touch the properties. It depends on what you want to do later or what you want to do now.
Love it.
I love
Any
it.
questions about that, Jabez? How you feeling about all of that so far?
I mean, I love it. I feel like it's a opportunity. And now what I want to really get into is the numbers of that sheet, so we can look at the actual numbers and where the money will be going, and how I can expect to get to, like, how much would I be able to make profit a window once we refinance it on a monthly basis. I want it to look nice. I want it to be a more higher end where we can get those type of renters in there. And I want to see what the numbers look like. That's what I'm most curious about.
So I
Those
have
are
a
all
question
great
for
questions,
you.
man.
I have a question for you, Sean. Anything that you saw during that walkthrough, anything that you want to point out that you saw that might be something that we need to consider, knowing that at the end of this project, it's going to be rental grade. And it's going to be something that, as a property manager, you would be managing.
Well, we're shooting for higher end rentals because it sounds like it's in a Bottle Works district. Am I saying that right?
That is, brother.
Yeah, so that's definitely a higher end client. My next question is, it's a plan to add another bathroom, or we're going to keep it a 3-1 per side? I saw 6 bedrooms and 2 baths. So it's a duplex. So each side has a bathroom. Each side is a 3-1. So we're going to add a bathroom. We're going to keep it. We're going to turn it into a 3-2. We have a plan for that.
What do you guys think would be the smartest thing to do for that area? drop another bathroom on each side, so 2 more bathrooms.
Absolutely.
Okay, at least a half bath. Yeah, at least a half bath, at least.
Yeah.
You know, because I get you a lot higher rent.
And you got to think 3 bedrooms may possibly mean, 3 individuals or parents and then 2 kids and so forth. So you don't want everybody trying to fight for that shower in the morning trying to,
And Sean, what's the difference in rent between a 3-1 and a 3-2?
Question.
About $600. I saw 1,300
each unit.
Yeah,
that's $1,200 right there.
That's $1,200. Yeah. That's a big difference.
That's a very big
and
difference.
Caleb can, speak onto this, and we can definitely pull this up in the numbers, but the cost to add another bathroom, and not that much in the grand scheme of things, and it's going to keep you in budget.
Yeah. And
it's beautiful, almost a no-brainer.
What's beautiful is that's also going to increase the ARV.
Right.
So where you're thinking about it might be around 320, 325, you might go up to maybe 330, 340, 350.
Right. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. And,
squeezing out that equity.
You know what else I wanted to mention too about this stage of the process, because we put the offer in, they accepted the offer, so now it's like we're going along the process of that, and you have referred me to Sean to inspect the property to make sure that it's actually a sound investment for me. And I thought that was real interesting because I didn't even know that was like a thing to do.
Yeah.
Could one of you explain the importance of having somebody walk that property and inspect the property, and how much, would you expect to pay for that, and why you should do it?
Go ahead. Take it.
I mean,
I'll take it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Caleb. Go ahead.
I mean, I would say the biggest thing for inspecting the property is to make sure that you're not running into any major, now you can't tell behind the walls, right? But you can tell up to a certain extent. You don't want to run into many major fixes as you're doing your rehab. So it's best to go ahead and protect yourself with that inspection so you know kind of what you're getting yourself into.
So what's cool is that with IndySpect, Sean, our guy, he actually has a way to scan in the walls. So he's looking at heat and he's saying, all right, are there cold patches in the walls? What that helps to indicate is possible flood areas. Did this have a leak or flood? Is the flood caused by plumbing? Is the flood caused by the gutters actually coming into the walls, etc.? The other thing that Sean has the ability to do is he does sewer scopes. And as we all know, Sewers and Drew, we don't get along. We do not get along. So that was one of the main things that attracted me to Sean was that he does those sewer scopes. And I have to tell you, he probably saved me 6 figures with the property that I was looking at. I was all excited about getting into this property for around $35,000. He went in, and this house, he gave me a 66-page report. And on every report, it says, hey, you should dig a little deeper into this. You should, on every page, it was a red little sign that said, hey, you need to check this out. You need to look at this a little closer. Hey, this could be a problem potentially. So it can save you a lot of time, a lot of headache. It's, to me, in my opinion, typically I spend about $350 to $400 with Sean. It's money well spent.
Right.
Easily.
And that gives me, and I wanted to bring that up because that gave me a lot of peace of mind too, going when you asked me earlier, how am I feeling? And I feel, all of these steps that I was unaware of, if it would have just been me doing it on my own, I might have missed this step. And so that's something really important to note, that inspection before you go ahead and put the money up and get into it. Once you get into it, you're into it.
And take it from me, man, as someone who did a BRRRR just about a year ago without an inspection, I would highly recommend it, dude, because, as we went through the rehab, we were finding out things that probably the inspector should have did. So, learn from my mistakes and go ahead and just pay that $500, man, because like you said, it's going to give you peace of mind. And the other thing Caleb alluded to it was on the legality front. Right? Getting an inspection will cover you from a legal standpoint, and you can bring this back to the seller if there's anything during your contingency phase that is questionable, you can bring it back and you can say, hey, we found this in the inspection. My contractor is going to address it, but we want to address it with you. And what can you do? So maybe they pull some more money off the purchase price, or maybe they go and fix it themselves, right? They're like, hey, we'll take care of it, or something like that. But definitely run and get that inspection, man. So very, very good to do that. Okay, so I think we want Drew to go ahead and get into the numbers. Ninja, go ahead, bro. All right,
let's do it, man. So I can't get into the numbers without actually getting some input from our contractor. So let's talk about this. This is really setting the tone for where do we need to be? Where are our numbers telling us that we are at currently? So we want to make sure that we understand not only that how much is it going to cost to get in? We know that it's 90% of $115,000. We also know, we want to know what that cost of the rehab is. So when we're looking at the rehab cost, we also want to build a contingency in place of that as well, right? So as we go back, what we're going to do at Jabez is you're going to have to kind of talk with Caleb about, well, what do you want that full kitchen replacement to look like? Or does it need a full kitchen replacement? In this case, how many full kitchen replacements do we need? You've got a duplex, right? So is it going to cost me twice as much? Are we going to repaint the cabinets? Are we going to replace everything? So let's take it one step at a time. Let's look at the kitchen. And, what is it that you're hoping to get out of the kitchens?
Well, what I want is for it to be, I want it to be the quality where we can get the level of renter that we want, like a higher end renter that's comfortable in there and that's going to want to stand there and be long term. So I know Caleb knows the area and I trust his guidance. And so when it comes to this project, I'm more of a student than anything else. I just want it to be a look that Indy is like, in Indiana, this is a look where renters look at it and say, I want to move in here.
Cool.
You know what I mean? And so what is that?
Caleb, what's your thought, man?
I would say those kitchens, you're looking at 4 to 5 bottom row cabinets at $300 a piece, and then 2 up cabinets. So you'll probably spend material wise, depending on the countertop that you roll with. We'll say butcher block, you'll spend maybe like $5,000 a piece on each of the kitchens and the cabinets. So you'll spend about $10,000 essentially on the kitchen.
So we got about $10,000 full replacement. And does that include the appliance?
No, that does not include.
How much do you think we should have it at?
I normally don't include appliances on rehab, but I would say about 200 for a stove, 200 for, 200, 250 for a fridge. So maybe like
$1,000.
$1,000 if that.
Okay. So I know that when the appraiser walks in and he sees beautiful stainless steel appliances, that's in his mind. He's taking that into account. So, I put 5,000 in there because I believe that, you'll probably you can get a brand new refrigerator with a warranty for like, $1,500 to $2,000. You can get a beautiful stove, electric or gas, for around, $1,200, right? So you multiply that times 2, you're looking at about $5,000. So you have to decide, what route would you like to go? Do you want to put used appliances in there, or would you like to maybe put some, stainless steel?
I spent that $5,000, and a year later, I come out and I come look at it, they done broke the drawers in there and things cracked. And so does it still function? Yes, it's still a great fridge, but do they keep it how you would keep your house? That's what you want to be wary of.
And so, Sean, I have a question for you, man, because as a property manager, wouldn't you be walking the property to make sure that those appliances are being maintained?
So yes, we walk the property, we check the appliances, but I would say that you get your best bang for your buck when it's more like, okay, you start with new appliances, and then when you hit a certain time frame, let's say like your HVAC. I got a property I check, right? That I'm about to turn over right now. Okay, that HVAC been in there for about 15 years. Okay, so guess what I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna put a home warranty on it now, right? Okay, because now I've gotten that it's hitting the end of its useful life. So now when it goes out on me, I can go ahead and use them to replace that. Okay. Now, the issue with home warranties, if you start from the beginning, is that they take time to get out there. They're not in a rush to get out there. So when you have things like a water heater go out,
like an
a home
emergency.
warranty, they're really slow to get out there. Okay.
Yeah.
They may tenant want their stuff changed and that day. Okay. And if it takes longer than that, they're mad, they're calling, they're angry. Okay. So yes, I like home warranties, but you have to, I would say,
strategic.
in my opinion, I say start off new so you don't have your maintenance costs are low. And then once you start hitting the end of the useful lives of the appliances and the HVAC, then let's put a home warranty on it so you can get the best bang for your buck when you're doing that.
I love that.
Man, listen, all of that information was so dope. This is so helpful what just happened. So with all that information, what I'm thinking is to budget the 5,000. Put it in the budget, and I got time to figure out the details as we move along, but I definitely want that 5,000.
There you go.
Now, Jabez, real quick, what we teach in our process is to put in brand new, right? When you put something in brand new, we are trying to force value into this home, right? So replacing the electric, replacing the plumbing, replacing the HVAC, you replace that, the appliances, like Sean said, dude, if my refrigerator went out, I'm going to be on the phone with that landlord, right? So I want to make sure that I have something in place. So typically when I buy, I'll buy from Lowe's or Home Depot, and I'll also buy the extra extended 5-year warranty on top of that. So that if anything ever goes wrong, all I got to do is pick up the phone. Hey, come pick your stuff up and bring me a brand new refrigerator, right? And they will do that. So I love that. That is a great thought process. Yeah. What do you think, Mr. Jordan?
It's different strokes for different folks, man. Obviously, Drew spoke to how we handle our process, and Caleb, from the contractor point of view and an investor point of view, he likes to go the used route. But I think that what we also need to keep in mind is the area.
Yeah, it also depends on the area
it's going to be in, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
It depends on the area.
This is going to be a higher end duplex that Mr. Jabez is purchasing. So with that said, I believe that he should go ahead and put in new appliances, but he doesn't have to get, the appliance that you're going to put in your own house, right? There are nicer, lower end, new stainless steel appliances that you can go ahead and throw in a duplex that are, moderately priced, but would give you that peace of mind for not only you as the investor, but for Sean as the manager, that it ain't going to break down overnight without the tenant actually intentionally destroying it. You can sleep well knowing that, hey, this is going to last. But like Drew said, you forcing that equity, baby. And that's kind of where you want to ultimately keep your focus in at the end of the day when you're doing this BRRRR and you're refinancing. So man, guys, let's move on to
so we've only gotten down one section.
Right. Let's get through bathrooms and all that good stuff.
So bathrooms real quick. Shoot us some number, CO Keys. So we've definitely got to do some work in the current bathrooms. And what Sean was asking is if we add another bathroom. So let's say we've got 2 existing bathrooms, right, that we want to completely redo, get some new pieces in there. What about adding the 2 additional bathrooms as well?
So what number should when you get into adding stuff, you got to move plumbing. You got to make sure that number one is functionable. So that's the thing that you got to go in and say is, does this have the square footage, or does it make sense to put another bathroom? Yes, it can always make sense money-wise, but will it be functionable? And I think that's where a lot of investors mess up nowadays, trying to get all the value inside of a property where they're not making it functionable.
Philip, can you peel that back a little bit, man? That's really good. Like, so with that said, like, what are some common mistakes then that investors just straight out doing this, and someone like Jabez in his shoes, that they can avoid? when doing this rehab?
So I'm going to have to bring in an interior designer, which that then again goes up on the cost, right? So by bringing that person in, then we know if it's functional or not. If you are putting this bathroom in, where would you put it? You know, you don't want to put a full bathroom on the first floor. How does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Learning where you're putting that bathroom is a big thing. And then how much money, essentially. Let's go ahead, if you can, Jordan, bring up the pictures. Let's see where we can actually put the bathroom. And is it functional?
One of the things that we've done in the past, I know that I'm doing it on a rehab that I have currently, is I actually put a bathroom right next to a bathroom that already existed. So the water runs were right there. They're right next to each other, made it super, super simple. I happen to have some extra space in the bedroom that I could steal from. And so, and the bathroom that I had was actually oversized. So I was able to split that bathroom in half, make it into 2 bathrooms, not have to worry about running a bunch of extra, water lines and electric. It was all right there already. So that might be, I don't know if that's an opportunity in this home. I think CEO Keys would be able to tell us because he knows where everything is. But that might be, if there's an option to, keep the water lines where they're at and just piggyback off of 2, life is groovy.
Yeah, so
is that what you're doing on the Arsenal property?
That's what we're doing on Arsenal, and that's also what we are doing on Dearborn.
So I have it pulled up right now, Caleb, and here you go. You can see the bathroom, but if I scroll down,
you got like a half.
This kind of get
a makeshift bathroom that they put downstairs.
I think this is one side.
Yeah, it's like a makeshift bathroom that is downstairs that they put in. It's one that's actually a full one. They actually, their layout of how they had is they had a full kitchen upstairs. That picture that's above these ones, that's a full kitchen. That's upstairs. Like by that, so we have to change. We have to change this kitchen into a bedroom.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And
so could we change though?
Yeah, there's water already there.
Yeah,
could you change that into
there's already plumbing?
But then couldn't you change that into a bathroom real quick?
Where you going? Yeah, but then that's supposed to be the 3rd bedroom.
Okay.
And he said, "Hey, everybody, basement." Yeah.
So my question is, how big of a footprint does the bathroom have to be? You could put like a quick little square for a shower for the kids, and then a bathroom.
Yeah, so I mean, for me,
for a 3-piece.
Yeah, like, it's all about functionality and how people want to perceive a bathroom. Like for me, in this area going down the road, you're going to want to try to shift your mindset to how you're going to sell it per side. Because that's what it's going to be like in this area, is they're going to start selling them half and half. Like this is an actual house, but this is half of the house.
So a townhouse.
Yes, going out of this, going into this mindset, there are some things that I would do, that I'm going to suggest to him starting off. Like,
so if we were to add a bathroom, and if we were to replace a bathroom or, do the full replacement on both sides, saying that we could find the location and space, and we tried to plan so that we didn't have to run the water lines, basically run new water lines and new drainage, right? Taking into account where things are. What's a rough estimate that we could think of, Mr. Keys?
I would say about 5 to 7. 5 to 7 each. You got to have these type of things when you're doing your rehab. This ain't necessarily, and I had to learn that. I did that on my first flip. It was like, make everything super nice, but essentially you're in this thing to make it look nice, but to make money on it, essentially.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't worried about the glitz and glitter.
That's a big pro tip, ladies and gentlemen, man. Just remember that you ain't living in this house, right? Yeah. So rehab it with that in mind. You want it to be nice. You want it to, be presentable and squeeze the ARV. But there are some things that you're going to have to let go. Go ahead, Drew. Let's move on.
All right. So what I've got here is for both bathrooms, the replacements, right? Keeping the claw tubs and what have you, about $10,000.
Yeah.
All right. And then for new bathrooms, and this again is something that we need to still figure out, does it make sense? Right? That's $12,000. Do we have any basement or foundation issues?
Yeah. We talked about tuck points and things about and things.
So what's the cost of that?
We'll definitely have to probably spend about 10 to 15 on that, I would say, to make sure we waterproof it. No, I would say 10 to 15 I account for worst case scenarios. So right now you got some loose brick on the front. And then you have some water, not, I would say, intrusion, but you can see traces of water. But I think that is coming from that loose brick inside.
Okay,
but
so we're saying about 10 to 15,000 for basement waterproofing.
Yeah, waterproofing foundation.
Got you. All right. So ceilings and paints and walls and door trim and all that good stuff for both units.
We should try to keep the door trim, but get rid of the trim around the house. Like the crown molding, that is good, but some of them windows, like they took it out. So I would say even putting crown molding back in there, bro, is going, in my opinion, that is going to have where you're getting that renter that you want, no problem. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And with
what budget are you thinking for that?
We'll probably spend like
$2,500.
Yeah, I'm about to say $2,000 and $2,500.
And then how many doors do we need to replace? I know you said that we got 2 brand new doors. How many doors on the inside?
2 front doors, but you have to replace all the bedroom doors. So that's
the bedrooms.
How many of those? Bathrooms. So 3 bedrooms, bathrooms. So 3 plus 2, that's 5. That's 10 doors.
10 doors
times 300, so $3,000.
Mm-hmm. But also, it's like, what type of doors are you going with? Are you going with the panel doors, or are you going to go with those actual, those J well ones?
So how much does it cost per door? What would you recommend for this house for a high-end rental?
I mean, those J well ones are, they can be what, $200 to $300 per door?
Yeah, you got the pre-hung doors and then the regular doors, and if you go to Lowe's, you can get some of those for as little as $150. Some of them can go up to like $300.
So we're saying about $2,500.
Yeah, I'm saying like,
so we're talking about
$2,500.
So we're looking at about $10,000.
This is on the paint.
This is on the paint, the trim, the walls, and the doors
and trim. Okay, so all of that together. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and so you're talking about refinishing the hardwood, right?
Maybe about $5,000.
Yeah, I was about to say $5,000 to $7,000. Probably $5,000 to $7,000.
Put 7 in there.
All right. So now, how about flooring? Are we doing any carpet in? I typically like to do carpet in bathroom or in bedrooms. But what are your thoughts, Jabez? What do you want to see in that house?
What do you want to see?
What's
I don't do carpet, so it's up to you.
Carpet is cheap
on investor.
That's the cheapest. LVP is a nice sweet spot, and tile, depending on kind of tile, you can get ceramic tile that can be affordable. If you get the more upgraded one, that could be expensive. So it kind of depends on what you're trying to do.
I would go with Caleb wisdom on this one.
So how much? 1,500?
I would say just like 1,500, if that.
Okay, so we're talking about $3,000 for both?
Yeah.
For both units. Yeah.
Okay. And then
where's the wood gonna be?
The floor, right?
Wood floor. Where's that gonna be in the house?
The LVP will go everywhere else.
Are we doing LVP or are we gonna refinish the hardwood?
So
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm a hard. Hey, on my house that I sold off Northwood, that there was that wow factor, bro. I ain't never seen
that hardwood is gorgeous.
It's that wow factor, and I didn't even put the gloss finish on it. It was still that wow factor.
So how much would it cost for us to refinish the hardwood?
I feel like it always comes out to be the same price, if not. Like, I know it seems like it, and now if we have to repair some, which I do know some of that had to be repaired, but I would say you spend about the same price because it's about the It's more expensive on the labor portion.
Yeah,
you know, and then
but not on material.
But not on the material because you're only buying
more
the
labor intensive.
and the.
So lock me down a number, brother, so we can keep it pushing.
There you go.
So we're talking about $2,000. So let's call it 3,000 just for
I would
shits
say
and giggles.
it's gonna be like I'm gonna be all the way honest. I know what I paid on Northland was like 4,000 once I got done, and that was 12.
Let's put it in
1,300 square feet.
All right, and we already talked about this earlier, but your rule of thumb for furnace and AC, plumbing and electrical is about 10K, right?
Yeah, I always say 10, 10.
So we're
10.
saying, so plumbing, we're going to put 10,000. We're going to say for the electrical, we're just going to call it 10,000. And is that for both units? You think that will work for both units?
Yes, I would say probably just go ahead because I would say I just run it for the full house.
So let me ask you, with the furnace and AC, are we putting 2 sets of furnaces and ACs, one for each unit?
So you always want to.
Are you splitting the electrical? Is it already split?
No, the electrical, everything has its own gas meter, own meters. That's a big
awesome.
People, that is a huge thing for people. Always make sure that you are checking the split of the meters. If they are not split, do not buy the property. Again, I repeat, if they are not split, do not buy the property because it's not recognized by the utility companies. You're going to run into a whole mess. The only thing that you cannot split is water. Water is the only thing that you cannot split on a if
duplex
you have
or a multifamily.
A multifamily, but you can on a duplex. You can't on a multifamily.
Yep. Okay. Good rule of thumb. But you're saying that we don't need to worry about that, right?
Yeah.
So how about so $10,000 will cover both furnace and AC for both property, for both units.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And so water heater, do we need to replace the water heater?
Yeah, you're going to have to replace the water heater.
What's the cost?
We need 2, right?
2 water heaters. Really, it's up to you. It's about 4 or 5, probably about 500, 600. You
so
can
maybe
get
about
some
$1,200.
Yeah, it depends on where you get them from too, because like Menards has some that's like 400.
Yeah, but
then
those only have a 4-year warranty. You want to get the ones that are 10, 12, 15-year warranty.
You see what I'm saying? So it's really up to you guys on those type of things. I let the home or my clients always make those game calls because I'm a little bit different how I shop. So it's different from my investment point of view versus my contracting point of view. I normally let certain materials be picked out by the client versus me when I'm on my investment.
For this project, so we'll say for this project, probably about 600 each, about 1,200.
Yep.
I'd rather up a little bit than and have extra cushion.
So we got the doors here. Did you account for door hardware when we talked about the doors?
No, that was just the doors.
So door hardware, about $40 a door. So we're talking about 10 doors.
Yeah.
So that's $400. All right, cool. Garage, are we doing anything in a garage?
There's no garage.
No garage. All right. So exterior, you said windows are already taken care of, right?
Yeah, windows are.
So how many windows do you?
Most of the windows, if I'm not mistaken, it was like only one to 2 old windows. I will have to double check.
Okay, so on the door, so how much do we need to add more to the door budget?
I don't think so, but we'll have to add some to if we have to frame. We'll have to frame up and put like a new little roof on that back area because it's drooping in.
So how much is that?
I would say just have that in the contingency. That would come out of the contingency budget.
All right. So we said that we don't need to do roof, right?
No.
Okay. Vinyl siding?
Yes.
Hold on. Before you go for the roof, how old is the roof? Like, what would you estimate?
That mug look good. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know 100%, but the roof definitely looked very, very good.
Sean will give us an idea.
Yep, that would be something that Sean from Indie Spec will let us know.
Yeah, and he will do a drone. He'll do a drone footage, and he actually walks the roof. He'll get up on there and he'll walk that roof to see what's going on for us. So, all right, so that's TBD. Currently, it looks like there's no expense. Vinyl siding?
Vinyl siding. Yes, we'll have to redo the siding. All new siding. I would say it'd probably be like 11, if that. 11.
Okay.
11
So put
12.
10. 11 to 10 or 10 to 11.
I'll just do 11. All right. Soffit?
Soffit, you're going to spend about $2,000 on.
What are soffits? What is that?
That's the thing that goes underneath, like all around the house, so birds don't get into your crib.
Where the roof comes down and hangs,
yeah,
the soffit goes underneath.
You don't really have that in Miami, so you don't really see that out there.
Don't have it here either.
Yeah, y'all don't have it in California?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about gutters?
Gutters, you'll spend probably about
$2,000.
Yeah, about 2,000, because it had 4
Do we need a new fence?
You definitely want to have a fence in that back so it separates the two sides.
How
much?
much?
You want to make it a nice little backyard. You'll spend probably about $5,000 on the fence.
Okay. And then do we need a driveway?
Because you're going to want to fence in the whole backyard, not just put a fence down the middle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. So the people outside don't got to deal with the outside cluckers that's still
Yeah, you want to fence the whole property and then and then divide the units.
Units, yeah.
And I don't think we need an asphalt driveway, correct?
Definitely not. But I will put gravel. It depends on if you're going to let them drive up on that old garage pad, or if you're going to close that off and make that so they can have.
And gravel's what, like 1,500, right?
Yeah, like 1,500.
Deck replacement, and excuse me if I'm pushing forward. I want to get through these numbers so we can get to the next phase.
No, I would say
the deck from the pictures, the deck looks good. It's concrete.
Yeah, I was about to say no deck is concrete.
And so then power wash, we're doing vinyl siding, so we probably won't need to do that. No. Miscellaneous exterior paint?
No, we already had the paint.
Got you. Light landscaping?
Yes, you definitely want to have that.
About 4K? What do you think?
Hecky no, I would say,
it doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, you don't need to spend that. I mean, maybe $1,000.
There ain't even no lawn, dog.
Yeah, I was about to say there ain't no lawn. So if maybe 600, if that, put some flowers out there, put some mulch.
I'll put 1,000.
Yeah.
And then junk removal.
Junk removal. You'll probably spend during this whole time probably like.
That's the demo.
Final cleanup? What's final cleanup?
$350 is normally what I pay per 1,000 square feet to my cleaner.
So here we go. We got the final numbers here, people. Once again, if you are listening to us on podcasts, forgive us. We've been sharing our screen over on YouTube. So catch us over on YouTube, and Drew's going to give us the final all in total.
So we're looking at about $133,000 based on everything that we talked about. And we typically do about a 10% contingency. So that's about $13,305. So the rehab total is about $146,000. On top of that, we've got insurance, right? And we've got utilities. So we're looking at, if this lasts for 4 months, which CEO Keys said that he tries to get in there in a couple months. How long do you think this project's going to last?
What's the timeline?
I'm trying to have this done within a month, to be honest, so he can have a renter focus on a month and to get a renter inside of there. So
I'm popping in 2 months just in case.
Yeah, this week I'll go ahead and bring my team over there and we'll create our schedule because we have deadlines and stuff like that for our team. So if you don't meet those deadlines, then you get fined. So making sure the utilities are on so they have gas, water, be able so the drywall can dry and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, I think we all pretty much good.
Okay, so here is the moment of truth, y'all.
The offer.
All right. So if we are getting a 75% discount on our refinance, all right, and our rehab estimate is $146,000, right? Actually, we have it at 70% here. Then the offer,
you're gonna have to put in the rehab because it didn't carry over.
Yeah, it did. It's right here. That's the rehab right there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll put.
Yeah. So if we are at an ARV of 325, 70%, and we want it to be a true BRRRR, the maximum allowable offer would be 81,000. All right. So if we're going 75%, so we're refinancing 6 months down the road, right? And the ARV is 325. Then we're looking at about 97 is the maximum allowable offer. Now
this is to get all of his money back.
That's to get all your money back. Now, what if this thing appraised at 350, which is what my original numbers look like? Then this actually looks a little bit more easier to swallow because you just offered 115, right? 75% back. You're going to ask for the rehab. When you do the loan, you're going to ask them for $146,000, right? Now, keep in mind, we have a pretty nice contingency in there, about $13,000, right? The other thing that we've accounted for is $12,000 of new bathrooms. If we didn't do this, if we didn't add the bathrooms, what does this look like?
Takes out $12,000 and boom.
Right? So this is where you need to kind of start looking at, all right, one, do I offer them a lower price? So let's just put this back. Do I come back to them and say, hey, you know what? I just ran my numbers and I actually can only afford $100,000 right now, right? And see if they bite and take it, right? Or, you know, like I said, this number right here is pretty close if it's at 350, guys. So the question is, CEO Keys, if we added that second bathroom, right? And we did everything that we're talking about. We refinished. We already know those hardwood floors. We refinished those hardwood floors. That's going to bring a certain level of beauty to it, keeping that old world charm, some of the trim that you're talking about preserving, right? Can we get an ARV of $350,000 in that area?
Easy, hands down.
There you go.
Boom.
So boom, there's your answer.
But I'm always... CEO Keys is the conservative party. I'm a very conservative individual, so I just want to say that my numbers are very conservative, and I like to expect the unexpected. My biggest thing is saying, hey, I'm given a budget, and I know I'm going to go under it. I don't like to go over. I like to tell people the absolute worst case scenario. So it's not hard, so you're not getting shook. And then when I come back to you and be like, okay, bro, that was only an 80K rehab. You're like, oh, shit, I saved 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
And you're like approaching this, you originally were budgeting about 100K, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So this is where we're at, right? Looking at this, what does this actually look like over time? We're saying a property ARV is going to be, let's call it 350.
350.
All right. Purchase price is 115. This is the rehab.
Put 35 at the ARV.
That's what I said. Yep, my bad. Y'all all
margaritas. Spicy margaritas.
All right. Right? Okay, so short-term interest. You need to bring that over here. Short-term interest is
probably what, 12%?
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me go back.
He's paying $1,274 per month on the interest payment.
Okay. I'll have to come back to that. So we'll have a short-term interest cost of, you said it's what, 2 months, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
but you also have to take into account though that he's not going to be able to refinance out of that
for 6 months.
Before 6 months. So you're going to have to keep carrying that.
He can do 3 with Ian. He can do
if
3.
He does 3, here again, if he does 3, he's only getting 70%. If he does 6, he'll get 75.
If he does a little bit longer, he might get 80.
Right.
Maybe. 80. Yeah. We just talked to our boy Ron.
Right.
Hey,
so
it depends on who you roll with, man. I'm telling you.
Let's ask this question. What's your monthly rent? Do we think Sean, you think that we could get $1,600 if we add that second bathroom?
Per side.
Yeah, on per side.
Wait, yeah, so 1,600 per side.
So it's 1,600 with a 3-1, and then if you have 3-2, it's 1,900
per
side.
3-1
so we going
for
a
sure.
3-2. We're going to do a 3-1.
I'm renting my 3-1 over there. Like just even my 3-1s over there are $1,800, $2,000 right now.
Okay.
And that zip code, it's over. You're not getting anything lower than 1,800 for a 3-bedroom. It's over.
How about insurance, y'all? Have you looked at what the insurance is going to cost right now, Jabez?
I haven't, no.
The insurance probably will cost him maybe like what, $2,000? $2,000.
Yeah, I would say about 2,000 right now on a duplex.
And what's our property?
Of that size?
What's our taxes? Our annual taxes on that house?
That's taxes is only like $913 right now
per year.
No, semi-annual.
That don't sound right.
Okay, so 18. So put 2.
Yeah, we put our annuals up.
We just put annual.
Everybody does their stuff and operates different, you guys. So they have the Property Brothers analysis where they put the annual. But also, if you can, just put your taxes paid every month. That's what I do. So
check this out.
Get that signed up for auto pay.
If we do, our loan, let's just go back. Our loan right now is at $265. That is just the cost, the purchase cost and the holding cost. Let's call it the short-term interest. Let's just call it
12.9
for now, for right now. And then short-term interest,
12.99,
3% maybe. So maybe what? Shoot.
On a
267.
So probably about $6,000.
Yeah. Yep.
You asking what is his closing cost?
Yeah, when he refinances it.
More like 8,000 actually.
So your loan's going to be about 275, right? So when we look at all that stuff, that's going to be 1,831.94 is what your principal and interest, vacancy, insurance, etc. So if you're collecting $3,800 a month, these are your expenses here, right? And you'll cash flow about $1,000 a month. Which means, and your annual cash flow is about $12,000.
That's a beautiful thing, bro.
Heck yeah, it's way better.
And so what I like to do, let me just see something. This equals 350 times 0.75. So here's the challenge. The cost of everything is actually higher than what you'll be able to pull out on this loan. So, what that means is that you're going to have to leave about $10,000 in the loan. But guess what? You make that back in the first year. And at what other place can you make $1,000 off of a $10,000 investment? That makes sense? Now, the only way that we could shake this is if let's say we don't even touch the contingency. Keys already said that he believed that the rehab was actually only going to be $100,000, right?
Yeah.
And we're accounting for an additional $40,000, $36,000. So, I mean, either way you slice it, if Keys is able to keep it below $100,000, you got a winner chicken dinner, right? So let's just see what that would look like. Let's say that the rehab is only $100,000.
Don't overpromise. Hey man, I like to. What's it? Under promise, over deliver.
And over deliver. That's right.
I hear you. But let's just look at what these numbers look like. So let me just tie this up real quick. If we were able to keep it at $100,000, right? Your loan amount is now $229,000 at a 7% interest rate, right? Now you're making about $1,300 a month, right? And when you refinance, you would be able to pull all your cash out of that.
Right.
So that's the difference. You guys need to tidy that number up a little bit just to make sure that we are all on the same page of what the expectations are. And then you need to talk to your loan company and say, hey, listen, it's not going to be $100,000 rehab. It's actually going to be about $146,000. And they may push back and say, we're not going to do a loan that's lopsided. And what that means is that your purchase price is $115,000. Your rehab is 150, is more. So that's lopsided. So they may say, hey, we may charge you more points to get into a loan like that, right? So those are some things that you need to consider. What I would do is I would have a conversation with my contractor, Mr. Keys, and say, hey, is there a way that we can make it so that it's not lopsided and we can still do, what can we cut out of this rehab budget? And the thing that I would not cut out are those extra bathrooms, because those extra bathrooms are bringing you $600 extra reoccurring revenue times 12 times however long you hold on to this property.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And when I get out of and when I get out of it and I sell it down the line, it make everything better all the way around the board.
So you guys need, you guys have access to this sheet. You guys need to tighten these numbers up, and then you need to go and talk to the loan company and let them know exactly what the rehab budget is going to be, and see what the consequences might be for having a lopsided loan versus not, right?
And I just want to let our audience know that the spreadsheet we will make available in our Property Brothers First Time BRRRR Toolkit. And basically, this is something for you as the investor to run your numbers on. Put your back of the napkin math on it. And this is something that you would bring to your contractor like CEO Keys. And then CEO Keys is going to go back, check out the numbers, and then provide an SOW, which stands for scope of work. And that is something that Jabez as the investor and the contractor, Mr. Keys, are going to work together that Drew is talking about. So I just want to let our audience know that CEO Keys has his own thoughts in his head about from the contractor side. But for the investor, for you in the audience, this is what you would use before you even go to your contractor as you are in the buy phase so that you can make all these numbers work. And as you can see, this can be a home run. And Jabez, congratulations, man. Way to hit a grand slam in your first at bat. That's
100,
outstanding, young man.
So I do want to bring it back real quick because we've got Sean, who is here with Gabriel Property Management. And I would he's gone through and he's looked at everything. And I know in the back of his mind, he's like, I wouldn't do that if I were them because that's going to cost X amount of dollars while you're managing it. Or maybe he is also saying, I would do this to make sure that they save money down the road. So do you have any thoughts around what we've just gone through?
Yeah, let's go around. Before you start, Sean, let's just go around just really quick. Everybody, starting with Sean, one last thought to kind of tie it up and some advice for Mr. Jabez.
Yeah. Start with me. Okay. Yeah, cool, man. So the first thing that I was thinking about was that CEO Keys was exactly right as far as with the carpet aspect. Yeah, keep it hardwood because as soon as you put carpet inside there, you do have consumable item. You got to replace that. You may have to replace it over, 1 or 2 tenants, maybe 3 if you're lucky. But yes, that's something that you do have to replace. Okay. Hardwood, you sweep that out when the tenant leaves and then you get ready for the next one.
Hey, you mop it, you sweep it, get on to the next one.
That's what it is. Right. Now Drew was right. People do like carpet. Okay. They don't want their feet to be cold and things like that. So it is kind of a balancing that, but keep in mind they do sell rugs, right?
And get some slippers. Get some slippers.
They do sell rugs. So,
oh, you know what? Yeah, dude. Okay. Hey, Jabez. When you rent this house out, give everybody a pair of slippers as a welcome gift.
Hey. That's right.
I'm gonna give him some natural light slippers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Hey, no, for real.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
All right, what else you got, Sean?
Yeah, the other thing was that so I did see on another home that it was renting, I did see an iron door. That wasn't on all of them, an iron screen door. That wasn't on all of them, but it's something to consider. The area is up and coming.
What does that mean to you? What does up and coming mean to you?
Up and coming means that they're
Hey,
So you
it's some
got Rehab.
stragglers.
So
It's
you
a little,
got some.
hey, no, it's in the same zip. So I mean,
All
even
right.
though it's $500,000 houses over there, you still got the cluckers that's still rolling around. That's, they still.
Yep.
Can you define clucker?
Yeah. Tell him. Hey, tell him, Keith. Tell him. Tell him. I'm trying to be professional. Tell him what a clucker.
I think we could use our imagination. Go on, Sean, man.
So
Give this brother some final piece of advice.
So yeah. So the black iron doors or steel doors you put on your front, yeah, you're gonna need those, okay? The other thing,
Cage on the
AC unit, if
AC.
you want to hire, yeah, exactly. So if you want a higher end renter, go and put your AC unit inside there, put a cage on it, or wire it down and concrete the wires in, okay, so it does not get stolen. All right, and Key's gonna make sure that that is wired down while he's doing a rehab, so it don't get stolen while you're doing the rehab, because that is the
I don't put them in until at the end. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I don't even put them in until at the end.
Okay, I ain't saying Indy is a terrible place and we steal everything. I'm just saying that
I know how it
there's
goes,
cluckers.
Man. I'm saying I know how it goes. It happens in Miami. Them cluckers. They don't call them that down here, but it's the same situation.
Yeah.
Cluckers. I like that though.
Yep. So yeah, that's it. That's it right there.
Awesome.
Oh, one more tip. All right, and I'm sure Key's gonna tell you this, but when you're doing the rehab, all right, because I had this happen to me, I don't want it to happen to you. Okay, when you turn on utilities, okay, make sure that there's somebody there when you turn water on. Turn electric on just like that.
Bruh.
The water, you turn water on. Make sure when Keys say I'm gonna be there, all right, make sure that somebody's there. Okay, because you turn the water on, nobody's there, and they got valve open. Your water is just running, and it can flood your entire place. Okay, so I'm just from experience.
I typically before we turn the water on, I will turn the main off. Right. So I turn the main off.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and then that way, when somebody's there, they can come turn the main on, and then check all the valves and make sure everything's good.
Yeah. I don't trust anything. I don't turn it on.
Dude, Sean, that's some great advice, man. Thank you so much.
Man.
Love it.
From Gabriel Property Management.
Yes.
Let's go to CEO Keys, man. As the contractor on site, what is some final piece of advice for Jabez as a first-time investor?
First-time investor, the biggest thing is not putting appliances, not putting appliances in there, not putting the AC in there until we're completely done. As far as fixtures would be shop for rental grade fixtures, not like you're living in there. And I would say overall, just staying positive. Expect the unexpected, a 100-year-old house, but you have me on your team, so I already expect the unexpected. That's why I'm giving you these numbers. I want you to have these in your head, so if something does go wrong or there is a bigger issue that I couldn't account for, then you already know, okay, that does make sense now. So I know definitely I'm going to get in here and work the magic. The only thing is the functionality will be my piece of advice, and to always look towards the future.
That's awesome, man. And, we talk about always having a plan, an exit strategy for every single investment, and knowing where it's going to go, beginning with the end in mind. Drew, final piece of advice for Jabez that you would like to give him as we close it out?
Yeah, man, I think right now you're doing exactly what we need to do, which is you looked at the deal, you sourced the deal right, you figured out what your buy box is, you went out and found the supporting staff, right? So, you've got your players, and we're all here to help you and see this through to fruition. I'm super excited for you, man. This looks like a home run. So it looks like a true BRRRR potentially. It's close. It's very close, but it looks like a true BRRRR. But even if you have to leave a little bit of money in this deal, there is a lot of potential, right? So I'm just super excited for you. And I think that, I've given you access to the sheet that we worked on. You guys play with those numbers a little bit to make sure that you are comfortable with it. And I'm ready for check-in number 2 once you guys start breaking ground.
Yeah, and that's going to be dope, man. And we'll kind of keep that documented and that journey alive as
100.
Caleb and his team buying back the block and all his people go to work on this property, man. And for me, Jabez, honestly, bro, this is so exciting for me. And I just want to thank you for allowing us to be a part of your journey and choosing us to be a part of your team and a part of your life, man. This is so awesome, bro. And if I can give you some parting words of wisdom, is just be in the moment. There are absolutely going to be some pain points. Nobody said that this was going to be easy. No one said that there is not going to be any speed bumps, but anything that is worth having is worth going through a little bit of fire for to get, man. And you have your why mapped out, bro. You know where you want to go and where you want this to take you. And if you just continue to remember that and remember where you're going with this, that will see you across the finish line, bro. So I want to ask you, Jabez, how are you feeling for your first time as an investor? What does success look like for you? What do you want this to shake out to? And we'll keep it pushing, man.
Well, for me, man, I feel grateful to have all y'all in my corner. You know what I mean? And just the advice that I get from each one of y'all. And I love how all y'all keeping it real, even when I like that everybody has their own perspective and point of looking at the same thing. So it's like I get a whole range of different answers, which is super dope, man. And, you know, for people that are watching too, I live in Miami, you know what I mean? And Caleb is in Indianapolis. Sean is up there in Indianapolis. And so I'm investing in Indianapolis. I've never even been there. So it's like, it's not like I'm just shooting blind up there. And then I got Drew and Jordan, who are both also investing in Indiana. So it's just like, there's so many different, kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like insurance. Like I got insurance in my brothers, you know what I mean? Which is super motivating for me. And I'm just looking forward to going through this process one step at a time. I'm learning as I go with this. And my whole thing is documenting the journey so other people can learn too, man. That's it. Let's make it happen.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful, man.
Yes, sir.
We're all excited to be on this journey with you. And dude, you're going to kill it.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. So shout out my brothers. My property brothers, man. Another great one.
Sir. Yes, sir. So people, if you are like Jabez, man, and you are thinking about pulling the trigger, you are trying to go back and forth of what a true BRRRR looks like, you're going through, how do you get started, man? Like, subscribe, and share our channel. We are helping people in our space to get started, to get off the sideline, to attack your legacy, right? And leave your legacy and crush your goals. So for Sean and Gabriel Property Management, CEO Keys, buying back the block, Jabez Invest, Drew, my brother, I'm Jordan, and we are the Property.
The Property BRRRRothas.
Take care. Peace.